Greetings, this is Chris Holcomb again with another tremendous episode. I wanted to give you guys, as I go through my journey, just some information, things that I learn as I go through. And this episode, I guess, will be more for people that already invest or beginning investors. Pretty much for the beginning investor, what type of model are you going to do? If you're going to do turnkey properties, or if you're going to do buy and hold, flipping depends on your area. That this probably wouldn't be for you. But if you're going to buy and hold, or if you're an existing investor and you're buying properties and holding them, or doing turnkey properties, depends on what your taking is on that. Are you doing land contracts, or are you doing straight rental? Lease option, I really hear a lot of different things I don't really have experience with. Some of them that's a fallacy. It's not really a lease option, pretty much. So basically, I know people that do rental agreements. I know people that do land contracts. I have experience of doing land contracts also. So I guess my question would be, what in your neck of the woods is best for you? Rental to me is our good option. People do Section 8. They do regular, where you just rent out the property. Pretty much you set up a year-to-year agreement, or 6 months, depends on the person and the duration you want to do. Set up your price, get a deposit, and there you go. Your agreement should specify what the do's and don'ts, what they're responsible for, what they're not responsible for, and pretty much they rent your property. Depends on the area. Me, I say in a lot of urban areas, I'm really not a fan of that, because they can tear your house up. Doesn't matter if it's in the agreement or not. If you're a victim, all right, still your house. You gotta pretty much got to put a reserve away for that type of situation. So that's something you have to do in your numbers, and probably be a lot conservatively, or I would say middle ground conservative, of what repairs will need to be done. Because if they tear your house up to the point where you can't even do repairs, you got to redo the whole kitchen or bathroom, then that's the time to sue. Pretty much that's the time to sue. Get your money, because spending it, and you ain't going to make no money doing it in that way. And then you have to probably reevaluate the people you rent to, or the property you have for rent. Because usually wherever your property at and the location will give you the type of renters. Always know that. If you're in the slums, you're going to get slum renters. No one that's going to be a single college educated dude who's going to move into that house. You're going to get someone who's probably just got out of jail, or just lost their job, or sell drugs to buy those houses. So you got to think about that also. But one of the pluses with renting is you can evict people in 30 days, 90 days, or whatever. Go down to the courthouse and file the proper paperwork. You can get the sheriff to come and evict them out of there if you don't want to deal with it. But it's pretty much a quick and easy way. Land contracts is different, because land contracts, pretty much they're dropping a bigger deposit. And that's one thing with rentals. If you're renting the property, you can't get a big deposit, because if you got an equity share from them, or they get an equity share, which, if let's say you're renting to them and you get 20% of what you're renting it for, that's a very deep deposit to be put in blank. And I think that's something, at least options, you have to worry about too. That's why I don't really have experience with it. I'd rather do land contracts. That's my preference, because they're responsible for the taxes. They're responsible for their insurance. That stuff will be in their name. More than likely, if you sign a land contract, you will put that into the payment, so it'll already be taken out. So you don't have to wait for them to pay it, or have to hope that they pay for it. Pretty much, responsibility is on them, but now you forcing the responsibility, because you never know what people may do. Then they may pay you the monthly fee and don't pay the taxes, and before you know it, the state owns your property. So that's definitely not a good situation you want to be in. So I would say with land contracts, the other thing a lot of people do waiver from regarding those is because you can't do an eviction. You have to do a foreclosure, which takes a couple of months. But my thing is, if you do your numbers right, you get a good down payment, you can definitely have a vacant property, or a property that's going into foreclosure, and still cover your costs if you got other people's money, or if you own it outright and you just want to pay the taxes. As long as you got that, you're in a very comfortable situation. But I think I like land contracts because it gives people responsibility. You're going to eventually own this home, so it is yours. So any upgrades you do, it's going to be what you do. You know what I'm saying? The taxes, the insurance, everything is your responsibility. It's under your umbrella. This is your future house. Pretty much, it's just like a mortgage. It's just from private funding. Renters, they don't really care. It's not theirs. They're never going to own it. You know, that's why they can treat it a little less. Think about it. I see more people with lease cars treat them worse than the cars they paying 4 or 5 years on and will own in the future. They make sure the oil change gets done. They make sure the tires, any little leak they see, they take care of it. If it's a lease, they like, I ain't gonna worry about it. Especially if it's in like the middle of that of the lease duration. They know they about to give it back. They may take it back to the dealership, but they just don't take as good as care, at least that I see, that others do when you own it, or it's part of ownership. Because mortgages, you really don't own it if you know the reality of it. The title is not in your name. You can't just sell it for whatever you want to. You got a partner in that deal. So it's the same way. You're dealing with a person instead of dealing with a corporation per se. So that's my take as I go on. I just wanted to definitely present that for other investors, depending on which avenue you like to do, rental or land contract. Because land contract right now is a very popular avenue because people don't have good credit. And it's a better exit strategy because eventually, if you don't want to have the property for maybe, let's say, 7 to 8 years, 10 years, you do a land contract for that, get your money. You could put a higher percentage on it than if you were selling it, and you still get out of the property and you get cash flow. As a renter, you still gonna have that property. All the upgrades you'll be responsible for, the care of it. If something breaks on there, if the hot water tank just go out, all that stuff you're responsible for because you're a landlord. A land contract, if you make sure everything in there is covered and warranted for a year or whatnot, after that, it's their responsibility. As long as you put good equipment and you're doing a fair moral job, then it should all go well. But like I said, they all have their pros and cons, and you guys got to really examine it and do your due diligence to see which one's best. But I just want to shed some light on that. As always, if you like it, hit the like, subscribe, or watch more of my videos, which should be somewhere in that area, and hit those links, and we'll go from there. And always, feedback is welcome. So I will catch you guys on the next video, and we'll talk more as we go through the journey, because there's a lot of things, as I always say, coming down the pipeline. I'm being patient. You guys be patient. But once you see it, I'll be going through properties. There's a lot of things that I am getting my ducks in a row, as they say. But that's how business is. It doesn't happen overnight. It's like a farm. You got to plant your seed, and it will grow as long as you take care of business and water it. So catch you guys later. As always, y'all take it easy. And like I said, I'll catch you on the next video. Have a good day.